Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Silver. Joining us today is the legend, the Robin Hood of Wall Street, our good friend, Greg Mannarino. Welcome back, Greg.
Thanks for having me. Always love being on your show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's always a huge pleasure having you on. Greg, the world is pretty crazy right now. We have recessions being called from Germany all the way to New Zealand. And America has changed the definition of recession so many times, we don't even know what's going on. What are you watching right now?
Well, like this is something like I think all of us saw coming from like miles and miles away. And it's still the same story how, the United States is immune to everything. Oh no, the rest of the world is falling apart. But here in the United States, we're doing great and fantastic. No recession in sight. Meanwhile, look, clearly people are hurting here in the United States. Loan default skyrocketing, personal debt, household debt, consumer debt, new record highs every day here. It's just that the pressure on the middle class is building. Inflation continues to rise, although the mainstream media tell you that it's not. It's amazing. It's amazing how they tell you one thing that they know to be a lie,
Oh, yeah.
but don't believe your own lying eyes. Oh no, they're telling you the truth. It's astonishing. But look, this is no secret. The world is is in depression, in recession, moving towards depression, in my view. You can't get out of it. I mean, it's deliberate. You got central banks cutting off the availability of credit, deliberately keeping pressure on the consumer here. They have no intention at all to stop inflating. As a matter of fact, I did a whole video earlier today speaking about how we're going to start to see expanding war. We're going to see new social programs, dependency on the system, as they again are moving towards their goal here to dismantle the current system, in my
Mhm.
view, in for a new consolidated power in fewer hands, and the rest of us are going to just unfortunately have to deal with the side effect of that. I mean, this is how
Yeah.
it's been going for years.
And you see, like you've seen just since they raised the debt ceiling, they already printed 700 billion. Like it's getting crazy out there. And like what you said a little bit earlier, it's affecting the middle class the most. Do you believe, Greg, that this whole recession is engineered by the Fed?
Everything is engineered by the Fed. The control of information today, there's nothing that escapes the Federal Reserve. The
Wow.
Federal Reserve is the government. The central banks are the government. The rest of it's just a sideshow, a way to keep people polarized, a way to keep people hating other people, distracted, deceived, not letting people actually know what's going on. But all of this has been planned out. There's no way on this earth or off the earth that the Federal Reserve did not understand what it was doing when people like you and I and our people who follow our work were made aware of what was going to happen years ago.
Mhm.
And here it is. So they didn't see it. I mean, it's incredible to me, really. It reminds me of what they're doing lately. You got more promises by the Federal Reserve and other central banks. Oh, inflation is going to eventually come down. It's amazing, and no accountability here.
Yeah.
People are, I don't know, I guess holding out some kind of hope that it's going to change. No, it's not going to change. It's going to get monumentally worse from here. I hope they understand that.
Absolutely. And a huge question from a lot of the people that we're seeing now on Reddit and the community is like, have we made it through the worst of the banking or the mini banking crisis we've seen recently to in 2023? Or does common sense eventually kick in and say no? Like, what's concerning you?
Oh, we're not even close to being done. This is they're dismantling that part of the system, and just as I outlined, and I'm sure you did too. For my people, that this is deliberate. They're going to consolidate the power in more banks, and I believe we're going to see a couple of bigger banks here, which we're already seeing weakness in already.
Right.
Again, they have to do this. They need fewer players in the new system, the new central bank issued digital currency system that's coming. There's no doubt about it. We can't escape it.
Mhm.
And that's where we're going here. But yes, that's part of it. I mean, look, from like 10 or 11 months ago, I was looking at the issues that were going on, just with some common sense here. No loans, no deposits, no deals. This is, and again, people are being, I think, grossly misled that this is just an issue with the smaller institutions. It's not. just an issue. And then you have this whole, real estate hyper bubble here developing, and this massive exposure to this corporate stuff. And there's going to be, and then derivatives. I mean, you could pile all this on. The banks are in a lot of trouble. The big banks are in a lot of trouble. Or should I say, the people are in a lot of trouble, because we're the ones that are going to be forced to bankroll this whole thing again. As it's always the same thing. It doesn't stop. And unfortunately, that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah, you absolutely nailed it, Greg. And you see now the Fed now, that's coming out in July. It's coming out next month or right away here. Do you think they're just laying out the groundwork for CBDC? Will people ever accept it, or just people across, or even people in the United States? They're just, even in Canada, they don't want none of that CBDC, and they really want privacy. So do you think it'll work? Well, what do you think's happening with Fed now?
Well, they've been trying to sell this to us for quite a long time. Their writing's been on the wall for years. There's no way out of it. Unfortunately, people are gonna, some people don't like it. Like I would assume you and I, we don't like it. The people that follow work, it's all about control. But again, what they've been doing for years is creating people who are dependent on the system. They'll take whatever's given to them. So, and that's the majority of the people. The gross majority are just going to take whatever is given to them, and they're going to be happy. Eventually they're going to eat bugs and be happy about that too. It's true. But you hear a lot of talk. Oh, and people, there's no uproar. There's no uprising. There's no revolt. There's no revolution. People today march themselves freely to the slaughter, and they bitch and moan about it. But in the end, they're just going to deal with it like they do everything else. People being destroyed here. The small businesses being wiped out. That's the real reason why the Fed's raising rates here, is to limit the availability of credit to small businesses, only to fulfill the corporate agenda. But there's no uprising. There's no uproar. There's no revolt. There's no revolution. Look, and the global debt keeps expanding, like you just alluded to just a little while ago here. There was no cuts here. We were sold another lie. Imagine my shock that this deal between McCarthy and the mummy sitting behind the Resolute desk right now, we're going to come up with some miracle solution. Everything's going to be great. We're going to be cutting. They didn't cut nothing. They've promised to pull trillions more into the now. And what did people do about it? Absolutely nothing. I guess that's the way it's going to go. So, whatever.
It's absolutely crazy out there, Greg. And, we are Wall Street Silver, so we love your take on precious metals, gold and silver. Obviously, we see crazy things that's happening with the economy. Where do you see gold going now, let's say to the end of 2023, going into 2024?
Well, I don't care what they do to it. As far in the shorter run, I don't care. Commodities are the place to be, especially gold and silver. Silver, my favorite asset of all time. Yeah. I just, why do I say that? I tell people just look at a couple of things. Let your fingers do the walking. Dow gold ratio, gold silver ratio. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is in la land. The stock market is in la land. Suppressed rates have caused distortions to occur across the spectrum of asset classes, malinvestment, cash coming out of things which should be going into, and vice versa. Eventually, this is all going to turn around. There's no doubt about it. The risk-on environment, meaning cash making its way into the stock market, is the direct result of suppressed rates. So you got a risk-on environment, which is going to flip into a risk-off environment, and commodities is going to skyrocket. It's just how it's going to play out. I mean, it's amazing. We're watching bond yields. I watch the 10-year yield all the time being the benchmark. How is it that the Fed has been raising rates and raising rates and raising rates, and 10-year yields going down, 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 down?
Right.
Very interesting, isn't it? The yield curve is screaming at us. It's the most inverted it's ever been in history. Every single forward-looking economic indicator, every single one, without exception, is telling us things are going to get a lot worse. But you don't hear about this from the mainstream. Oh, no, they're telling us how great we're doing.
Oh, yeah. And they're still saying in the US it's not a recession, because obviously they changed the definition. And I also seen, Greg, an article recently, actually just today as we're recording this on the 26th, is Goldman Sachs. They're cutting like 125 managing directors globally. JP Morgan and Citi are also cutting investment banking headcounts. So are they just preparing for the inevitable, like what you were saying earlier, like just a massive recession, so they're just cutting off jobs now?
This has been going on for quite a while. We've been seeing corporations laying off tens of thousands upon tens of thousands upon tens of thousands, but everything is great. And we're adding jobs. Ask our president or thing. He'll tell you. I call him a vomitous mess.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy. So you're huge on silver. When you go into silver, do you get just physical silver? Do you look at more of the ETFs? Like what do you
No,
look
no,
at?
no, 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 no. Physical,
Yeah,
all the
you're
way.
good.
Physical all the way. Absolutely. I want to own it. I want to hold. I love looking at it. But I don't have it on my desk. I had it
Yeah,
everywhere.
you should have had
But
it on your desk.
as I said, I'm in the process of moving, so I'm kind of getting everything set up. So yeah, I play with it. I look at it. I love it. Yeah, it's like an addiction in a way, but I believe that, why I look at, looking at the Dow being so inflated right now. I mean, no one knows where the bottom is here, man. This Fed jumped in here at Dow 6,000, so
Mhm.
we know the bottom was lower than 6,000. Where's the actual bottom of this market? No one actually knows. But what I do know is I believe this with all I got, and from just my own research and studying it, is we're going to get gold on par with the Dow at one point. Dow, let's say the bottom is Dow 6,000. That means gold 6,000, and then the silver gold ratio probably 15-1, maybe even 10-1 in a full on meltdown of the debt market, which is eventually going to happen. The debt
Right.
market is a time bomb. It's going to go off, and people are going to run for the hills like they always do. I mean, it's no different this time than any other time. Everyone's going to run to the door at the same time, and we're gonna witness quite an event occur here. And then, again, this is not by accident. This is going to be at the time of their choosing when they're ready to do it. That's just why you have the central banks collectively hyper inflating the debt market,
Mhm.
understanding that this is not sustainable. It isn't, and the system, the way it's designed, must be fueled this way. I mean, liquidity is drying up. We have instability clearly in the debt markets, where we got bond yields bouncing all over the place like yo-yos. It's the truth. So it's just a matter of time, and some triggering event, again, of their choosing. I believe that,
Yeah.
and this whole thing will come apart, and it won't take much.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely spot on, and we're just watching as it goes along. We're waiting for that next Black Swan event. But we want to thank you, Greg, for coming down to Wall Street Silver. It's such a huge pleasure having you on. And then hopefully as the market goes on in the next 5-6 months, we can have you back on.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, huge pleasure. Talk to you soon, Greg.